Hey folks, Phil Gallagher of ThrabenU here for the matches with the mono black deck. Got some feedback from the first cube video that I posted online, so from this point out, I'm going to try to be a little bit more aware of the card size moving forward. Realized it was a little small on the draft because like my draft settings had changed when the client changed. So I will be more aware of that for the future. Apologies that I can't get it changed for the second, or I guess this is the third video. So let's go ahead and jump into our matches. I'm just taking a second here to reacquaint myself with the deck that I drafted. It looks like we are a mono black control deck with a handful of equipment to supplement our creatures, and we have a few powerful cards. Black Lotus, Mock Sapphire, Demonic Tutor. Alright, let's do it. It is a Veterans Day for me, so I'm getting to play matches at an hour that I usually don't. I don't think I'm going to play Magic all day or anything, but this is a fine start to a day. Hmm. I have a lot of removal in my deck, and things like Umezawa's Jitte that can be really good against a white weenie strategy. But my hand's not... Well, I guess I have a 2-1 lifelinker that helps a lot. This could be okay. Especially if we pull something relevant and fast from our opponent's hand. So I don't super care about the Spirit of the Labyrinth other than it being a 3-1. I think I do take the 3-1. I leave my opponent with 2 counterspells, which I don't love. But if they're holding up Remand and Mana Leak and not upgrading Student of Warfare, probably a win for me. I'm going to just play this into a counterspell. If my opponent wants to answer it, cool. Like, I am totally good with them cycling their Remand here for a tempo swing. Sort of interesting that that didn't hit a counterspell. Okay, that explains it. It's 4, right? Oh, it is 3. Yeah, get in there. I will be totally fine with just playing all of my cards into removal. Or not removal, into counter spells, because I have, like, such high card quality in my hand. A line drop's actually really good for my opponent. That means that they can level up twice and then still have Mana Leak or Remand available. They're choosing just to level up once, though. Which I guess is fine. Do I want to scry? I'll just take a hit for 3. Again, given my average card quality, I'm just going to be playing everything into these counterspells. I'm really kind of hoping that my opponent plays another creature so I can get a 2-for-1 out of this damnation. Um, hmm. Maybe I scry this turn. I'm gonna go ahead and send that to the bottom. Yeah, that's good. I don't know what it gets, but it's good. We get a 1-drop, can't be remanded successfully here. I could just get Blood Chief's Thirst and kill that creature, or Fatal Push and kill that creature. Could also just go with something like Jitte or Sword of Body and Mind that is just going to be powerful. I think Battle Ball and Damnation are going to win me this game if the game goes long. Could also just take something that they can remand this turn that will just be very powerful later. Let's just get their creature off the board. In all likelihood, if my opponent is a blue-white tempo strategy, the longer I drag on this game, the more chances I have to work towards an undefeatable bomb. And so just protecting my life total early is pretty valuable. Fatal Push also fuels the graveyard, which means that Woe Strider can come back after Eternalize. This is actually good for me. I can get a 2-for-1 off Damnation now. My opponent targeted Mana Leak with Snapcaster Mage rather than Source of Plowshares, and then they couldn't cast the Mana Leak. That's a little embarrassing. Alright, I guess I'm off the Damnation plan. I have pivoted instantaneously to the aggro deck. So this has Fear. This can potentially get a little bit bigger later. No! Artifact creature! I could push 3 damage by attacking. I don't know that that's actually good. Could double block the golem next turn. I think I'm just gonna pass here. I don't know that my opponent's golem can attack me, because if it does, I crack back harder. My opponent taps out for some big, like, Baneslayer Angel type thing. I am super happy to Damnation. I'm glancing at my sideboard while my opponent is figuring out what's going on. I think I'm going to have good boarding options. I'm going to go ahead and make them cash in their remand this turn. Opponent can have any number of things that gets them out of their current situation. Something like a bribery or treachery would be pretty good. But you can have that 3 damage. It's really awkward if my opponent has the actual factual card counterspell. Because I theoretically want to attack in with both of my creatures and then play Damnation, wipe this board, and then play Mere Battlesphere. And the play pattern that's associated with Damnation would be me attacking in with both of my creatures, or me like sacrificing my creatures to scry. But I find that extremely awkward right now. So I am just going to play the Damnation and not try to like maximize the value that I get out of my Woe Strider here. 5. I can just bring that back later. That's pretty good too. With 2, yeah. If they have a Batter Skull, this is surprisingly annoying, but I'm not too worried about most other pieces of equipment. Yeah, Jitte is just good. Super happy to see those tapped, and they don't have like actual factual counterspell in addition to their other things. Strong. At least my opponent doesn't have just an insane creature to get back. I now have sort of Jitte insurance in that I can sacrifice things with Woe Strider pretty easily. I could attack in with all 4 of my mirror this turn and sacrifice the one that gets blocked in order to push 3 damage. And sacrifice the goat on my opponent's turn if they attack with that. Yeah, I might be trying to end this game before that thing goes off and brings back an annoying Blade Splicer or Porcelain Legionnaire. Yeah, I think I'll top that. That can just stay as a large beater. That's a bit of a nuisance, but it's not the end of the world. This means that my opponent gets Jitte counters this turn. Alright. I don't think I need to kill this. But it's possible this game drags on long enough that my opponent could get a second activation, and I really don't want that to happen. So I think I will go ahead and send in all 3 mirror. But I guess I'll play the... That's actually kind of interesting order there. I guess I'll play it first. Is your graveyard, right? Your graveyard. Actually, I wouldn't care. My creatures are black. Now there's Ravenous Chupacabra. First strike creature plus Jitte is going to be a little bit obnoxious. So I am looking to draw Ulamog, one of my 2 pieces of equipment. Toxic, Deluge, Necromancy would be okay. I think Null Priest I already drew. Bloodchief's Thirst would be fine. Bitter Blossom not great. Him not great. Pack Rate not great. Alright, my Rotting Regisaur has been bounced. The Flyer plus Jitte is much more formidable than the Stoneforge Mystic plus Jitte. Unfortunately, my opponent has the same line available to them as they did last turn now, of kill my Woe Strider and then get in there with Stoneforge again. Game is starting to slip a little bit. We'll see though. I don't think my opponent's playing super tight. Like, they had their Snapcaster error, and now they're casting a Preordain rather than just using their blue to cast Brazen Borrower. So there's a chance for me. Each one of these goats is worth 3 life. But I really need a relevant draw next turn. I think I'm just going to go ahead and junk both goats. I'm going to try to dig deeper, because naturally drawing Olimog is so good here. Is that a reason to just, like, junk the mirror? I have 20 cards remaining. I think I have scryed 3-ish to the bottom. If I cast an Olimog and just exile the Jitte and one of their other things, I don't see myself losing this game. Yeah, alright, I'm gonna go deep. Nope. Nope. Necromancy's okay. Like, Necromancy is another Ravenous Chupacabra. I'm a little too worried about just losing if I try to play fair against the Jitte. Uh, Not great. Not great at all. Talents and Avacyn. Okay, those are good to know about. I think I probably need my Olimog next turn. We'll see what my opponent can do. Flash how they attack. Block. Trades my Regisaur for life. If I don't do this block, I take 7 here. I don't know. So, like, if I draw Olimog, yeah, I think I need to block. Because then I can draw Olimog, exile a Jitte, and either this or this, and then AB not die. Alright, I fished pretty hard for the out. Toxic Deluge was another out. I could have brought back War Strider and cast Liliana's Triumph, but I think I'm effectively dead at this point. Maybe that was an early concession. Alright. Double check, make sure none of my black cards end up over there. No. I can consider Maze of Ith. I want Bone Shredder and Thran, I think. Honestly, I think most of my cards are good against my opponent, and it just kind of didn't pan out this time. I think I'm going to pull the Rager. I like the discard against my opponent's counter spells. I don't know what the other card I'm supposed to cut is. It could just be Rotting Regisaur, because the self-discard is a little spooky in this matchup. When my opponent has things like Petty Theft that could have it work against me. This does only leave me with 9 bodies for 2 pieces of equipment, though. I don't think I've ever looked at a hand so long that has, like, Black Lotus and a Mox and considered whether or not this hand is good. I think I keep it. This hand's very awkward, though. I think I just play Thran on turn 1 as a pro-human card, and then try to draw a land for Sword of Body and Mind. But this is a very anemic thing to do with a Black Lotus. This is another creature, yeah. I'm just under 50% to hit a land. Don't think they should have played Path to Exile with that timing. Should have done it on my upkeep. They know I don't actually have blue cards. So the dream sequence for me is opponent plays a creature, I draw a land, Ravenous Chupacabra, and then I start connecting with Sword of Body and Mind. Can't hit that one with Bone Shredder. Also just good against a creature that my opponent plays this turn because of Bloodchief's Thirst. Well, kind of. It's a smaller creature, things work out for me better. Or if I draw a land so I can Bone Shredder and then Thirst, that also works out well. Yes, I really like that concession. Opponent is down about 2 minutes on clock, and they're in a very unfavorable position like that. Um, on the draw, I think I like my Maze of Ith. Maybe over the Inquisition. I'm treating Maze of Ith like a spell here, not as a land. Again, opponent's Path to Exile timing super did not work out again. Work out well for them. I'm keeping this hand assuming that I can draw some sort of creature or removal spell or something to get in the way of what my opponent is doing at some point this game. The Mox obviously is a really hot draw. That means I get turn 3 Thran, turn 4 Jitte Connect if everything goes my way. Does 2 mana make indestructible? 3 mana make indestructible. Oh, this is a 3-drop, and my opponent doesn't have blue up. That's great. Now, opponent can have like a Path to Exile or Swords to Plowshares here. I know they have both in their deck. I think I keep the goat around rather than scry. Like, the goat is worth something when I have Yawgmoth. Oh, that's about the ideal sequence for me. Not going to play around Daze, because I can randomly draw into Maze of Ith this turn. Would be really good. Oh, hold on. I did that wrong. Alright. Choose up to one target creature. I choose Blade Splicer. Sacrifice another creature. Goat. Necromancy. Is any graveyard? Yes. Interestingly, I can also use a Yawgmoth to proliferate Jitte counters. That's a thing that can happen. Bluff? Feels like bluff. I will call this, because I have Necromancy if things go wrong. Like, you can have your 2 damage. I won't force you to use the 2 to make it indestructible. Maybe I should have forced the 2 to make it indestructible. All right, that's real good. Can be a little bit awkward against Teferi, but I think my opponent would have cast Teferi if they had it. I'm gonna keep this and not just use it this turn. I don't think I'm in much danger. Famous last words, of course, but things are feeling good. Yeah, this is fine. Yeah, this is more than fine, actually. Take out any haymaker that can potentially beat us, like a balance. I mean, I called that, so oh no, don't need to. With CMC 2 or less, just use that. Blow up the golem. Junk that. Hold my lands. I have exactly lethal next turn, and with 3 Jitte counters, that should be able to kill anything that my opponent plays. I can also turn it into 4 with Yawgmoth. Yeah, nice, good stuff. My opponent maybe could have won that match with tighter play, though. Like, there were a number of things, like Path to Exile, timing, the value they left on the table via Snapcaster Mage, that they could have done differently. Yeah. This is a hand. The turn 1 Jitte hand is probably going to be good against what might be a mono red deck. Hmm. Honestly, I feel like I have a good hold on this game against some sort of blue-red tempo deck. And I don't just want to run into a situation where I give my opponent a ton of value off of this card in the next turn, and I regret not removing it. I'd rather like remove that, play Rager, try to get in there with Jitte counters, and drag this game on to the point where my like removal and endgame haymakers close out the game. I don't think I played this yet, despite the fact that it is a Swift clock. Would like to yield to your mana vault, please. Alright, hold on. There I go. The cat was very interested in my talk about mana vault. Three, four, five, 8? Not quite there. Got a bolt. Yeah, I don't think I play the Regisaur. The payoff that's in my hand is just too strong for me to want to do that. Also, if my opponent had that Burst Lightning earlier, it makes me feel really good for removing the Dreadhorde Arcanist immediately. Woo! A lot of damage. That's a haste creature. No, you must have drawn that off the sword, right? That's the only way that that makes sense. Alright, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage showing. Any one spell represents lethal, or a Wandering Fumarole activation represents lethal. 9. Alright, so I have to play the Rotting Regisaur. I get to equip it with a Jitte. So actually, I don't want to always yield to those things for Jitte-based reasons. As of right now, I'm discarding Swamp on my turn, hoping to draw a new mana source so that I can cast an Ulamog. I cast an Ulamog, I imagine I win the game instantaneously. Yeah, that's a lot of damage. Does this kill me? Oh shoot, I think I'm probably dead. I could click on the wrong mountain. Wait, no, it's a 5/5? 4/4. 4, 7, 8. No, I'm not dead. I'm real close though. Uh, I don't think it's good to minus my Jitte on my Rotting Regisaur to kill it so that I can cast Ulamog, because I am at 1. My opponent would still have lethal on board if I remove 2 things. But let the record know that I was thinking about it. Well, that's not the Ulamog I was hoping for, but that's gonna be good. I don't think I get to play around a direct removal spell to the face. I think I need to kill that Koth. Well, actually, I will still be able to gain life. Only need 1 point of life to win. Do we have any sort of life gain in the sideboard? Not in black. Alright, like against the other aggressive deck, I think I'll board in Maze of Ith. I think I'll also board in Yawgmoth and Bone Shredder. I think I'll board out the Thoughtseize. I think I'll board out the Rotting Regisaur. And I need to make 1 more cut. I think it's the Hymn to Turok on the draw. Maybe it's... No, I need the Bitter Blossom for this stuff. It also just provides black chump blockers for Sword of Fire and Ice. Well, I don't know what this hand does yet, but it will probably be strong. Swamp, Black Lotus, Demo Tutor, Bitter Blossom, turn 1. Let's go. Is it the safest line? No. Bitter Blossom into IOK into Sword. All sounds great to me. Sword now? I don't know, Shriekmaw plus IOK in the same turn is really good as well. How does this one read? Hey, the Sulfuric Vortex is scarier than Ponder. Yeah, I could see myself realistically losing to this card with Bitter Blossom around. So, Sword of Body and Mind is a very swift clock via milling. I also have a lifelinker that I can pick up as well. What's the timing on this? Till the end of your next turn. Okay, cool. I think some of these things probably are turning into chump blockers. Maybe not. I could create a wolf here. I don't think I need to sandbag that any further than what I've done already. So I think I just want to eliminate as many bodies as possible. I guess the Eternalizes, now that's cost 6 mana. The game is over by that point. Sort of Body Mind good and limited. I don't know if you knew that or not. But it's pretty gross. Alright. Maybe we'll actually trophy this time. Ooh, auspicious. Good or bad omen? I will let the YouTube comments decide. This hand's pretty mediocre. I don't think it's bad enough to go back by any stretch of the imagination, but if opponent doesn't play a creature on turn 1 or 2, I'm not really doing a lot. Yeah, the old pile of removal not looking hot against the blue deck here. I don't think I want to play out a Rotting Regisaur when I have so many cards in hand against like the blue deck that hasn't done anything yet. I mean, that's not that bad. We'll sack the code here, though. No. Can't sack this to itself. So I will remove that this turn, I think. I don't really want to use Blood Chief's Thirst because, like, Planeswalkers seem like something that could be in my opponent's wheelhouse pretty easily. Like, I can't use this. Using that seems bad. I think I'm just going to Toxic Deluge for 2. 2? 2. That's good. Unfortunately, I think I need to pressure my opponent here. I just don't think I can pass the turn into their 6 cards and presumably 6 mana. And they have 2 different draw 3 effects. That's good. Don't think we're getting to this if I have a Rotting Regisaur in play. Yeah. I think I'm going to need to do some major adjustments on my deck for the post-sideboard games. I have like too much removal for this deck. My opponent hasn't shown me a creature yet. Yikes. This is a hard control deck. Take it. Draw your cards. My opponent maybe needs to be scared of like Animate Dead on Ulamog. Maybe not with Mystic Convoy in hand though. That's why we saved the Blood Chief's Thirst. Is this 5? This is 5. Mana still does have Mystic Confluence, though. Like, that's a thing. I can attack and try to kill the Guruk. My opponent will chump block, and then I can Blood Chief's Thirst it. That seems fine. Guess it's awkward against a mana leak in a way that evoking Shriekmaw wouldn't have been. My Rotting Regisaur sitting on board, chipping away at my hand isn't fantastic for me. How much is this for Eternalize? 5. Okay, cool. Please bounce my idiot. A Beast Within. Okay. God, Mystic Confluence, though. Eternalize, create a copy? How does that work? Oh no, this isn't Eternalize, this is Escape. Okay. Get rid of Deluge, Damnation, Blood Chief's Thirst, and I guess Rotting Regisaur. This is a great opportunity for my opponent to use the Mystic Confluence. He'll counter this, bounce my Beast token, and then I'll try to Necromancy Olamog to win this game. Wow, okay. I'm surprised. I don't know what's in their hand. But that seemed like a slam dunk to me. Sure. Enters the battlefield or dies? Oh, not exactly. Since this tramples, let's go ahead and sacrifice a goat to scry. Oh, that's quite good. Like another backup necromancy effect. Yeah, that can stay on top. I don't think my opponent can sacrifice their own Woodfall Primus easily. Go. Yep, I'll just go ahead and pass turn here. This represents lethal in a single attack from mill. Quite awkward if my opponent has a second control magic effect, though. I guess they also have the Mystic Confluence. Shoot. Opponent's in a really weird position in terms of their life total. And this bounce spell. Actually, it's not as weird as I thought because I have Lumbering Falls. Alright. Sure. So now I attack in with both of my creatures, and if my opponent blocks, they don't trigger Oath. It's a shame, and neither one of my kill spells can kill my own stuff. I could just try to kill this Woodfall Primus twice eventually. But I think I'm just going to pass turn here and see what happens. Man, I wish I could kill my own beast. Kind of. Hmm. That's good. Maybe my opponent won't name black and I can Liliana's Triumph, and yeah, okay. I'm just going to scoop it up to that. I have like 2 castable cards in my deck, and I'm not going to get to 10 mana before these things kill me. Awkward. I also don't think my sideboard options are particularly stellar versus this deck. I would like more things that help me grind and more things that like punch through my opponent's draw spells. I don't really think I'm getting that. Like I can board into a 3/1 aggressive creature that can let me like maybe Mize and Necromancy a little bit better. But like Yawgmoth isn't great, Living Death is awkward. I think I'm gonna play the Agadeem's Awakening over a Swamp. I think the life loss is not super relevant here. I'm gonna board out one creature for an Una's Prowler. Or sorry, not one creature, one kill spell. Maybe the Fatal Push is weak here. I also do have the Mad Lad plan of like board in Ashen Rider or Atarka for their oath, but maybe questionable. I can also play Gilded Lotus over one other kill spell. Because it's like hard casting this is going to be bomb against this deck. Yeah, let's maybe pull that over this. I could also board in Living Death since I boarded in Una's Prowler. That's not crazy. No, I have a Toxic Deluge, right? Let's get rid of that. Alright. I've added 2 reanimation cards to my deck. And 1 more discard outlet. This hand is probably too good to throw back, but at the same time also doesn't really do anything. The good news is their hand doesn't really do anything, so if I draw a threat, I can put Jitte counters on it and get extremely aggressive. That's a threat. Play it around Daze. Gilded Lotus actually quite good here. If I hit a land next turn, I go Gilded Lotus, equip Jitte, and then I play Battle Ball way ahead of schedule. Alright, so my opponent played Island there. They have a Swamp. I think I'm just playing the Null Priest as a 2/1 here. If I draw a land, I want to be playing Gilded Lotus, and then I want to be playing Mere Battlesphere. Did not draw a land, so I don't have anything to do with my mana this turn, that means. Let's move the Jitte over here. So I can get more life. I am relatively scared of what my opponent can do. The IOK didn't really punch a hole in their hand. Like, it stopped them from having a ton of mana, but the Cultivate meant that, like, they have relatively consistent mana now anyway. Alright. That's a good 2 for 1. Given circumstances, this is fine. What I discard with the Rotting Regisaur is super interesting, though. I can discard the Mirror Battlesphere, hoping to Living Death for a billion creatures in a way that's probably unbeatable. I think I'm just going to discard the Damnation this turn, though. We're going to try to kill the opponent here. They have a Beast Within. They have a Beast Within. Null Priest's Menace is relevant here. It's not relevant anymore. I can go Regisaur at their face and Rager at Garruk. Awkwardly, if I do that and the Woodfall Premise dies, they can blow up my Mox, and then I can't Gilded Lotus this turn. This is really awkward in terms of like my Regisaur. No, the Regisaur's gonna die. That's okay. I think I do this and play this pre-combat. That goes at them representing lethal. And that kills their Planeswalker. So then I'll lose my Bitter Blossom and then play Battle Ball. Definitely nervous here. My opponent is probably in the better position. Not guaranteed, but like a Mystic Confluence or equivalent just becomes so good on this board. God, that's their third draw 3 effect. Their deck is good. Don't Mystic Confluence me. Oh, oh God. Alright, I'm probably dead here. My opponent has a lot of power on board, plus Sylvan Library, plus 8 cards in hand. Actually, I can mill my opponent out somewhat reasonably. They have 13 cards remaining. One sort of body and mind hit, for example, is probably lethal. And they probably are only going to have green and blue creatures unless they go off with Oath. Yeah, they got to Brainstorm Shuffle too. Oh, Brain Freeze. Instead, destroy target creature. Yes. I do probably need to get this out of the way. But still can't attack through the 3/3. Just doing the old Woe Strider check there. Or that wasn't in my graveyard and I forgot about it. Oh, that actually results in me getting damaged this turn. That's super cool. I might just die to like a Brain Freeze Regrowth, Brain Freeze based line though. Yeah. Wait, hold on, am I left with one card? No, Regrowth, Riverland's lethal. Well played, opponent. Like, your deck is awesome. Like, I guess in some ways it lines up well versus my removal heavy deck, and so I have, relatively speaking, a good number of blanks. Um, that's not how we can do that. Oh, I want to look at this. So, like, in that matchup, please move. All right, I can't move anymore, I guess. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of our main deck cards that are much, much weaker than normal. And then we like poured in something that was situationally strong and still wasn't good enough. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with the deck overall. It was certainly like powerful and consistent. Um, but when our opponents are playing decks that don't really rely on lower curve creatures to win, this deck became incredibly awkward. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed. So, do that whole like and commenting thing. Let me know I should keep more cube videos flowing.